The newest hit in town, the newest fascination is the Constitution and chatter over whether the process is transparent. What should be up for review, and particularly when we dump the monarchy, whether the head of state will be a ceremonial one, powerless, such as the President Governor General, or one with some executive power that would disturb the apple cart of the present arrangements. Those give the Prime Minister near dictatorial powers, we know. Good day. Thank you for joining us on this, the 69th episode of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast. Remember to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And please keep sharing. We welcome your comments too. Desmond Richards also takes on the arrangements for constitutional review, and Winnie Anderson Brown says, "Man bites dog" is not any longer news. Now, frankly speaking, my commentary. Let me say first of all that I am not amazed by the lack of trust evident in discussions about the process for the reform of Jamaica's constitution. Too many Jamaicans hold the belief that a set of people have already decided all the changes they want, and all that's going on is a farce and a sham. Now, all of that thinking falls into the abundance of conspiracy theories out there, from COVID-19 to beryllium. I don't believe the conspiracy. I know the assembled committee is nobody's lapdog. But I want to see more Jamaicans involved, educated, and consulted in the process. Frankly speaking, a great obstacle is that very distrust I spoke about just now, and an obsession even to carve out a conspiracy or pretensions of thought on anything put forward. It's fed, of course, frankly speaking, by social media and the nothingness and mindlessness that characterizes part of it. But I have a big piece of caution about the Constitution review. Firstly, frankly speaking, we must not suggest that this is an exercise about the whole Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Even without selling that wrong concept, we run the risk, with our zeal and overemphasis, frankly speaking, as to suggest that if we could get a good Constitution, if we throw off the bad parts and the monarchy, all will be fine for Jamaica. It is not the Constitution or its flaws that are responsible for the high level of criminality, crime, and corruption that is eating down, to borrow from Bruce Golding, like chichi eating down the Jamaican society. It's not the Constitution that causes people to dump their garbage at their feet and in somebody else's backyard and to dirty up Jamaica to make it the way it is. It's not the Constitution that makes downtown Kingston or central Spanish Town as disorderly and chaotic and as unhygienic and nasty as those and other towns and parish capitals are. So we must emphasize the importance of the Constitution, but don't set up people for a calamitous fall by suggesting that if we just get transparency and full participation, get agreement on the Constitution, we'll be okay. That's a sham and a lie. The process of holding town hall meetings, such as the one in Montego Bay last week, is helpful, but it goes nowhere near the quality and level of engagement that's needed. There are smaller units of the country and the political architecture that can help. The smallest organization of people we have in the country right now are what is called Community Development Committees, CDCs. They're part of parish development committees. A great idea, an underused system, and now partisan politics has whittled and withered some of them. They report, or should do so, to the municipal corporations. Engage them, energize them, get live to the community groups across the country and the town halls will be on the corner, in the bars, and even outside the gambling places, in church halls. Councillors and councillors are now mobilized for the overdue local government elections in a bastardized local government system that needs constitutional protection, by the way. With the help of the municipal corporations and the MPs, councillors could do some things useful by holding divisional committee meetings for discussions on the issues. Justice of the peace could be brought in and help to shore up those meetings. It's more complex than handing out bushing and bulwark, but it can be done and should be done. And then there are the youth clubs, not many of them, in a network under the Social Development Commission itself, losing purpose. All that, frankly speaking, would have to be uploaded to a secretariat for the Constitutional Reform Committee that would distill the reports and make them available to the general public and parish and town meetings. The social media platforms have their usefulness in this regard too, and could be mobilized for the feedback and the education required. A few town halls where officials do much of the talking will not serve the purpose. Another time, I'll say why we don't need a ceremonial head and why the executive presidency could shake the foundations of blind partisanship that has hobbled this country for 60 years. Here now is Desmond Richards.
Well, I have to revisit the argument about the constitutional reform. And I am insisting that full public participation must be a feature of this debate. I heard the minister, chairperson, saying that there are going to be public participation, and at least one meeting has been held already in Montego Bay. But we don't want these debates to be, just the usual radio announcement, the usual announcement. We want the public to participate. Now, we have seen that both the opposition and the government, they have agreed on the ceremonial presidency. And in fact, what they have indicated so far is that it is clear that they want to maintain the current political system. They don't want to do anything that will change the existing political system. So they are gearing for a republic with a ceremonial president and one that maintains the existing political order. There are other schools of thought, of course, that we should have some change in the political order, and therefore we should have an executive president. What is required is that the executive presidency and the ceremonial presidency both should be explained to the people so that the people have a clear understanding of what they are. We don't want the decisions to be taken and then handed down to us. The ceremonial presidency, the executive presidency, explain to the people so that the people can have a good grasp. What are we going to spend millions to maintain the ceremonial presidency, which will be just like the governor general, with the fact that the president, that ceremonial president, will no longer represent the Queen. So we want some clear understanding, clear explanation for the people, so that the people are not left in the dark. People must be aware of what we are embarking on, what we have embarked on. We do not want a repeat of 1962 when the public had no input in the Constitution that was signed and approved by Queen Elizabeth. And we do not want a Constitution that is signed. We don't want a revised Constitution signed and approved by the political directorate. We want the people to be involved. This must be our Constitution. And we want to be involved.
That's Desmond Richards, journalist and founder of Rebel Radio Jamaica. And now, Winnie Anderson Brown.
Whenever I hear about a crime plan, I always say to myself, a crime plan? We don't need a crime plan. We need a security plan. And the Ministry of Security should be about providing security, not about fighting crime. It's not just semantics. Words are important. We create with our words. And while I'm on that, many people will relate to this. I am not presuming to tell journalists what to do, but I want you to hear me out. Dog bites man is no news. Man bites dog is news. Now that men are biting dogs, it is time. That is no longer news. What is news is dogs coming together to find the men that are biting the dogs. So it is time for the men who are biting dogs to understand that dogs are coming after the men. Am I speaking in parables? It is time to change the way we report crime, especially murder. Let us be creative in the way that we report crime. It is about time we do that. And remember now, a security plan is what we need, not a crime plan.
That's educator and health facilitator Winnie Anderson Brown. Endgame. The United Nations is appealing for countries not to return fleeing asylum-seeking Haitians to their country. Haiti, our Caribbean neighbor, the world's first black republic, is sinking fast. And it's not because of its constitution. Gang control and violence has spread to areas hitherto untouched in that poor country. And the call since October last year by the government for help from multinational forces has not been responded to. Meantime, nearly 40,000 Haitians have been returned home from not just the US, but far from countries. And half of the country now needs humanitarian assistance. Meantime, the world is exercised over Ukraine and Russia. Farewell, Harry Belafonte. You have said some really wonderful things about Jamaica. The country promised so much more in those early days of yours than it has delivered. There is not much I can say that hasn't been said yet, sir. But since you took every opportunity to say your mother was from Abuka in South St. Anne, and you spent several childhood years there, the government of Jamaica should know where you should be honored. Thank you all for sharing your time with us on this, the 69th episode of Frankly Speaking. Please like, share, and if you haven't done so yet, what's holding you back? Please subscribe. On behalf of Desmond Richards and Winnie Anderson Brown, I'm Franklin McKnight. Good day.